Okay, so baik, we continue to next group. Ada ke?
Group saya sir.
Silakan.
Tapi Wilma tak dapat nak present saya sebab dia ada emergency. So saya dengan Yaya je yang.
Alright, you cover lah. Nanti turn dia pula kan. Cover sama lah.
Okay. Okay sir. Okay. So nampak ke screen saya?
Okay, nampak.
Okay. Okay, so Okay, nak dengar ke? Dengar suara saya?
Dengar jelas.
Okay. So Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh, and a very good morning to my fellow classmates. So my name is Karikuan bin Zamri, and I with my group Nur Hidayah, Miti Manajis, and Wilma Joseph. So today we will present about presentation on wireless networks in chapter 2 in 2.4, which is wireless transmission techniques. So for the introduction, I will present first. So as you know, the wireless LAN have a few transmission techniques that is used to transmit the signal and information across the network. Okay, so they have various techniques that is used to transmit the information or transmit the packet across the network to make the communication easier. So the techniques consist of four parts, which is radio frequency, infrared, spread spectrum, and narrowband. So radio frequency can be a two forms, which is narrowband or spread spectrum. So the wireless LAN transmission techniques that is widely used for the communication are spread spectrum technology. So the spread spectrum technology is the term refers to the transmission channels that are spreading across the spectrum or the bandwidth that are available in the network. So information can be sent using the narrow band carrier signal spread out of a much larger frequency range. Okay. So the amount of frequencies that can have be in the spread spectrum and with at the range of the 902 MHz to 938 MHz, and also 2.4 GHz and 2484 GHz. They each consist of two parts. So the signal looks like a noise to the most receiver. So the most receiver in the spread spectrum technology is can be looked at signal looks like a noise, but actually they are communication spectrum. So the peak power is very low, the uses of the peak power. So the information can be sent using a narrowband carrier signals spread out of a much larger frequency range. So in the spread spectrum technology, they have two types of it, which is first is frequency hopping spread spectrum, FHSS, and direct sequence spread spectrum, DSSS. Okay. So I will present about the FHSS. So actually, FHSS technique is a broadcast the signal over a random series of the radio frequencies. So a receiver, which is hopping between frequencies in a synchronization parameter, receive the message. So the message can only be fully received if the series of frequencies is known. Okay. So the message is received if the frequencies of that network is known that frequency. The message. So this is because the intended receiver knows the transmitter's hopping sequence only that the particular receiver can successfully receive all the data. So most vendors develop their own hopping sequence algorithms to guarantee that two transmitters will not hop to the same frequency at the same time. So as you can see here is the time of the frequency occupation for FHSS signal. So the graph shows the coexistence of the different FS and SS signals. So each tiny box in the graph indicates the dwell time of the frequencies. So easy to say that actually the box is called, they are called frequency hopping code period. So now I will transfer to Yaya to Hidayah for present the next slide.
Hello? Hello?
Dengar.
Hello.
Dengar? Okay.
Dengar.
I'll be explaining on the transmitter and receiver of the frequency hopping spectrum. So here is the transmitter. The binary data is processed through the modulator as the frequency is spread and produce spread spectrum signal. So this is the transmitter. Next. This is the receiver. The process will be passed to the receiver, which then spread the signal frequency through the demulator that leads to converting the signal back to binary data. Next. The benefits of FHSS. So it provides very robust transmission path in the presence of interference, such as multipath, noise, and other wireless transmissions, due to the support of wide bandwidth. It can be employed in point-to multipoint applications. It provides security against any kind of intrusion, as only transmitter and receiver are aware of PN nodes. Next. Next is the direct sequence spread spectrum, the DSSS. Direct sequence spread spectrum is frequently used for LANs. Direct sequence transmitters spread their transmissions by adding redundant data bits called chips. It has much higher bit rate than the original data rate. The ratio of chips to data is known as the spreading ratio. The higher the ratio, the more immune it is to interference. Next. This method provides greater rates of transmission than FHSS. It also protects against data loss through the redundant bits. However, it floats the channel it is using and is also more vulnerable to interference from EM devices operating in the same range. If any bits are damaged during transmission, the original data can be recovered due to the redundancy of transmission. Next. Okay, this is the benefits of the SSS. It reduces signal or background noise level that hampers interception. The determination of relative timing between transmitter and receiver. And then it has resistance to unintended or intended jamming. And it can share of a single channel among multiple users. That's it for our presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Good job. Dengar.